Welcome to my channel, AquaStarGoddess. If you're new here, definitely subscribe. Hit the bell so you can get notifications when I upload new videos and smash the like button. This is Dot. Say hi, Dot. Yeah, I know. Her and Pepperoni Sprinkles are almost twins. I think it's a boy, actually. I don't know. Anyway, this is Dot. It's not Pepperoni Sprinkles. Pepperoni Sprinkles is mine. Dot is a close second. But the other day I posted a post. I posted something about being a sugar mama, basically. Okay. Now I got to tell y'all something. First off, don't ever let me trick y'all into thinking that I will be a sugar mama at any sort of point. Okay. All right. It ain't gonna happen. Okay. It's not going down. It is not going down. Now, I don't have like this whole, I know there's some people who have these strict ways of being. I'm not as strict a way of being, but I damn sure ain't gonna be no sugar mama. So I just had to say that real quick, right? Because I know I was like talking about it last week and saying something. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull this damn video up. Because we were having a little bit of a discussion and I kind of asked the question and put a poll up. And it was about this.
Is it real or is it delusional? Gino had mentioned it the other day. I was saying to, women that, if you find somebody that really loves you and that you're compatible with, and they just don't happen to have all the money, it's okay. You can decide.
It's okay. Y'all hear how sarcastic that kind of was.
Entertain them. So Gino mentioned this tonight, and I really, literally, I don't know if I looked at him, but I definitely said to him, don't nobody believe that shit but me.
And I don't really, right? Like, because I got to say something.
That's 100% true, though, because there are some women out there who are in these types of situations.
Listen. There are some women out here that are just totally, you a sugar mama, sis. And if that's cool with you and that's what you doing and that's making you happy, then don't let nobody stop you from being happy, okay? Don't let nobody stop you from your happiness. Now, I wanted to kind of talk about this because in some situations and in some cases, a lot of women happen to fall into connections with men where they end up being the ones taking care of the bills and doing all this stuff and, you know what I mean? Like taking care of the man, basically. Personally, I don't think that I would make it very far in that type of situation. Here's why. Because when I am in a relationship and in a connection with a man, that I'm in love with, I fully intend to give him all of the kingish, the most king treatment he wants to, the most king treatment he can get, right? Like, I fully intend to be that woman. And I can't do that if I'm taking care of you. It ain't gonna ever happen like that. I can't give you all the respect that I'm supposed to be giving to you. You know what I mean? Like, you just haven't earned all that respect from me like that. You know what I mean? And so, like, to me, it's just simple mathematics. It ain't even nothing. It ain't no shade. It ain't no shade to the women who do. It ain't no shade to the women who have problem with this and problem with that. Like, I don't really, that's not my thing. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm with a man, you know what I mean? And you expect me to do things for you, you expect me to be a woman, to be the woman for you, then I can't do that if I'm also working and doing all these things and taking care of all the bills and taking care of the kids and doing all. Sir, you got so many things. It's a whole different story if you putting me in position. You know what I mean? It's a whole different story if you have set up businesses and stuff for me to run. That's a different story. We're not talking about that. That's different. You know what I mean? I'm talking about if I got to get out here, get these jobs and work these 9-to-5s in order to come home and take care of you and the kids and all this and you want me to treat you like the king is king. Like, it ain't gonna happen. You're not about to get all the respect that you think you deserve in this type of situation, this type of environment. And I have to share this with you guys because I feel like there's somebody out there in the world that just don't understand that, right? And I know. Because in the last video I was like, well, it's okay, maybe if you and that's because here's the thing. I am not trying to judge you if you happen to be in a type of situation where you are taking care of your man. Like, I'm not trying to judge you. I'm not trying to tell you you're doing the wrong thing and nothing. Because if it works for you, then it works for you, then it's fine. I just know that for me, okay? I just know for me. All right, you know, I want to always maintain, and like I said, I didn't say this, but I am absolutely not saying that, you know, in a boyfriend girlfriend situation or whatever, that my man has to be fully taking care of me and providing for me in those ways, right? I wouldn't shy away from it, but I'm not saying that in that type of environment that he has to be paying all of my bills or doing all these things or whatever. But if we're talking about me being your wife and then we get into a space where we're having children, uh-uh. In reality, you know, you may even listen, especially like the dynamic's gonna change based upon the situation too, right? Because this is the thing. This is why it's never really a cookie cutter answer, because it's all circumstantial. He may have kids, and if he's expecting you to care for those kids when he is, you know, when they're with you, he needs to be understanding that, oh, you want me to take care of the children, then you need to also provide this. You need to provide the proper environment for me to do that. And here's the thing: like, I understand that there are some men out here that are crying and complaining about, oh, women, what. Listen, if you want to be a woman, then just do that. Go find you the right man, okay, and go be a woman for that man, okay. But you're not about to be having me because you want to be treated like a king, because they always do. They always do. Oh, I want you to treat me like a king and this and that and the third. Okay, well, kings take care of business. Kings take care of the home. Kings make sure their queens have all the things that they need so that they can actually provide the love, tenderness, and care for the king. So when you're asking for a queen to treat you like a king, you need to be providing the things that she needs in order to do that sufficiently. So I am not saying, however, and I want to be clear. I want to be clear with y'all. The dynamics of relationships can change based upon the circumstances with you too, you know? And I feel like the reason why I wanted to offer this little bit of extra room to grow is because, like I said, every relationship is going to be different. You know what I'm saying? You and your man may have a different dynamic. Y'all may have a different type of circumstance. You might be more stable than he is, and you might be totally okay with that type of dynamic, right? There may be some women out there who want to be able to be a sugar mama because they want to maintain the control in the relationship, right? And in my reality, I don't really even feel like just because somebody is doing this part or that part, that means that either one of them should have the control in the relationship, because the reality of the facts is a relationship is two people working together to make some shit pop, to make some shit crack, to make some shit work out, right? It's two people working together. It's not just one person or the other. But one thing that I think is wildly misunderstood with men is that, you know, especially when you have children involved in a relationship, when you have children, that completely changes all dynamics of what is actually what the work is of the relationship and of the connection. Children are not an easy thing to deal with and to raise. So like the fact that you think that, oh, because you're home with the kids, that means that you're not doing anything, that idea has to go away. And that is one of the most taxing. Being a parent is a big deal. And if you are an active parent where you are constantly active with those children, you are constantly teaching those children, constantly with those children, constantly spending time with those children, it takes a lot of energy. So to pretend that it doesn't is amazing. Okay. And especially since there are people who get paid to take care of children. There are people who get paid to do cooking and cleaning. There are people who get paid to clean. There are people who get paid to have sex. Those are whole industries that people make money off of just so that you don't have to go and find a wife. So the fact that it's this whole pretend thing that a woman who is taking care of a home is somehow not doing anything is absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Because especially men who take care of the home, that are actually involved in their home, take care, like really doing it like a woman would do it, which you wouldn't do it like a woman because you're a man. So yeah, you know. But if you're really doing it to that degree, then you know that it takes a lot of time and energy. So to pretend, so these young men pretending with this whole conversation is just amazing. It's crazy. Okay, but let's go ahead and let's listen. So
true. What I said
the
to him.
stats. What were the stats?
But there's a good deal of women that would never apply to. I understand it though, and so I want to ask you.
What I'm saying I understand is that I understand that there are situations where women are in a situation with a man that they end up being the provider for, right? And if that, like I said, once again, this is all about if it works for you, then it works for you. I'm not about to tell you that you're doing your life wrong. I'm not about to tell you how to live your life, whether or not you should be doing this or should be doing that. I wouldn't. But I'm not telling you not to. That's what you want to do, right? Like if you found a man for you and he is taking care of the home and taking care of the kids, and you know what I mean? He makes sure y'all dinner's cooked, and when you get home, he got everything laid out for y'all, then that's beautiful. That's wonderful because you done went to work and you done did all the jobs and you came back and that's your man, that's your baby. I am not going to sit here and ever tell you ladies that feel that that's the lifestyle for you that you want to live, that you shouldn't do that. Because then that would be pretty much going along with and in line with the sexism and the sexist conversations that we've always had, right? Now, I don't know. I mean, I think that let me finish this real quick.
What do you think? Am I being delusional with that concept? Or is it real? Now, if we look at the stats, though, it's looking like there's a lot more sugar mamas out there than we like to give credit for. It seems like everybody wants to focus on, women asking for certain things from men, which, if I'm being honest with you, the current culture of men, the current culture of the majority of these men are really, yeah, I get it, right? Because if all you're going to do is impregnate me and then cause me issues throughout the rest of my life, yeah, you gotta compensate somehow, my guy. Okay? But I want to ask you guys, is that delusional to be able to receive a man or accept a man for who he is if he doesn't have money and love him in that way? Now I want to say, like I said the other day, I really feel like this is all circumstantial, and based on the circumstances. It's based on situational.
It's situational and it's circumstantial.
Maybe
that means that
who's a lawyer and you got really good income, and
exactly.
You don't really need income from a man, but maybe you want companionship from a man. So I want you guys to kind of think about it in multiple different ways, not just one way, not one example, but in multiple ways, and tell me what you think in the comments.
So this is a poll that I actually had up on this video. And so we did end up getting a comment from Mahogany that was extremely a long comment. It was very detailed. So we're going to go over that and read that. So here's the thing. What I'm asking basically, is it delusional to... Shit, I forgot the damn question, but I think it was more so, is it delusional, okay, to think that a woman can be in that type of environment, in that type of situation? Now, like I said, it is definitely circumstantial, right? It's highly circumstantial, specifically because the example used, if a female lawyer, decided that she wanted to have companionship, and it didn't really matter whether or not the person that she's with had a job or had money or had a good job or whatever. She just wants that companion. Now, in those types of situations, that changes the circumstances. It literally flips the roles, and it puts that whole gender concept out the window. It just throws it out the window, literally. Now, I feel like this is an important conversation because we do have a lot of back and forth conversation in the collective audiences where men and women are saying, oh, men should do this and women should do that and it should be like this and should be like that and it shouldn't be like this and it shouldn't be like that. And I think that, we have to really take stock and look at what is actually going on with the collective. We are all, a lot of women are saying that these men are not the men, or these ain't the same men that our grandparents had. You know, these ain't the same men that our grandmas and our moms had. Like these are some different types of men's. Okay. And some of these men are a little more feminine, a lot more feminine rather than a little. A lot of these men are a lot more feminine while also maintaining that ego of the masculine, the toxic masculine archetype, right? And so it's a matter of, well, what actually can you do to create a working situation? Now, interestingly enough, I don't even know if that's possible, considering that, you know, this recent stats that have come out about relationships and marriages and how men that have wives live longer and women who are single live longer. So it's just like those numbers are staggering, which lets you know that overwhelmingly across the board in all cultures and all cultures, all races, and all places, that literally women spend most of their time catering to their men, to their husbands. And I don't think that the men actually see that. So much so that now there's a group of women who are like, well, fuck y'all. I'd rather be celibate than to be dealing with this shit. You know what I mean? What's the point of me doing all that? And just to be unhappy for, just to get cheated on. So it's like, when do you actually take a step back and look at the concepts, look at the details, look at what's going on within relationships and connections between men and women? Now, this is only one conversation about women being with men who are not providing, basically, who are not providers in the relationship. And the reason for me why I wanted to ask, is that real or delusional, is because let's just say that all of these women that are involved in these relationships and all these men that are involved in these relationships are of childbearing and childbearing ages. And let's just say that woman gets pregnant. Well, see, even in those situations where you have the lawyer, or you have, the woman who's okay with going to work and taking care of her husband or her man, if she gets pregnant and she bears a child, what then happens? Like, are we expecting her maternal instincts to not kick in and her maternal desire to be with her child to not kick in? Or maybe not. Maybe she just wants to go right back to work, and that's okay too. But I think that that's something to consider, because, sometimes that maternal desire to be present with your child kicks in. And then what happens? Then everything is flipped and topsy-turvy and flipped upside down. So I think it's necessary to at least look at different scenarios and various different types of scenarios to gain understanding why certain structures are set a certain way anyway. The way that we dealt with each other as men and women has been that the men did provide, for the shelter and foods and all those things like that for the woman, because of the fact that at some point this woman may bear a child. And when she bears a child, she is not able to fully, during a certain period of time at least, during a certain period of time at least, during that time, she may not be at her full capacity to be able to go out and work or hunt or gather or whatever the fuck, time period we're in. So have you thought about that? And in reality, what I'm seeing a lot across the board with some of these men is that they truly don't even care. It's like they don't even care. But in reality, the women carry you before you're born. Like you would not be here without a woman carrying you in your belly. So to not have any empathy or sympathy towards women, it's like, do you even care about yourself? Like, I gotta question that. Because you are not even here without a woman holding you and carrying you in her tummy for at least 9 months, but it's actually 10 months. 40 weeks is 10 months. And sometimes it's longer than that. My grandma said that one of her kids was 11. She was pregnant for 11 and a half months. I said, oh my goodness, grandma, what happened? Wait. So, you know, somebody can carry you around for damn near a year, and then you can have the gall to step outside of your body and get older and act like you don't have any respect for women, like you have no, like women have nothing, they bring nothing to life. I'm sorry, but not one of you would be here if it wasn't for a woman. Not one of you. So I think we got some screwy things going on here. I think we got some screwy reasoning. I think we have some screwy thought processes. I think we've got a lot of like just overly entitled energy that's been going on around the collective in general in various different ways. And I'm not just talking about men. I'm talking about men and women, both. Just everybody just got life fucked up to some degree. So anyway, that's something that I wanted to kind of consider, think about, and point out. And oh, don't forget, we're going to read. Let's read Mahogany's comment. So Mahogany says, now it's definitely real. However, it is still delusional all in the same second. Because the risk of building a man is high because he is more likely to not stay loyal. Now, if you are a sugar mama, most of them don't love their sugar babies. It is an exchange and more about control, not love. Then it does make sense if you both are on the same level and you are building yourselves like people who went to college together. Okay, that makes sense, right? We can talk about college, you know, because keep in mind, we also have to remain open that relationships are different at different stages. That's why I said that's why I also said it's circumstantial and situational, right? That's why I said that. All in all, to purposely put yourself in a relationship with a partner who cannot provide financially, and you in fact know that is needed from your partner in your relationship, then you get in that relationship and talk down to that man, then that is pure delusion because you knew what you were getting yourself into. So she's basically saying that if you get into a relationship with a man who just ain't able to provide for you, he wasn't able to provide for you when y'all got together. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna be able to provide for you after the fact. So what are we talking about here? Like why are we having this conversation? Okay, and then you get rude and disrespectful and all that shit like that when shit's feeling uncomfortable. Now that it's, you know, the hot oil come out now. Now we got to talk shit about you, right? So let's see what else. Because I stopped somewhere. I don't know where I stopped. Getting yourself into. We're getting yourself into. But someone who wants companionship and doesn't need a provider financially, then that's okay. But that is still a risk because it is possible he would feel less of a man. That part. This is the real part that I was talking about earlier, which is why for me specifically, yeah, it's because of the fact that a man being a man, he is going to want to get that man treatment. He's going to want to get that king treatment. He's going to want to have the highest level of respect. And that's just what he's going to need and want and desire within that relationship. And it's just a fact. Like, even the least prideful man, this is one of his requirements. Even the least prideful men, even the ones who are not egotistical, them too. They all want that specific thing. So that's where it makes it difficult to put yourself in a situation where you looking at this nigga because you take care of all the bills and shit. And you like, what the fuck is you even here for? At some point, you stop disrespecting. You say, what are you doing? What is your purpose? Right? Like, why are you here? Remember Oprah was like, I don't want some man in my I don't want some man in my house. Or maybe that was that was Whoopi Goldberg. I don't want some man in my house. Right? Okay, so anyway, all right, let's see. So risk because it is possible he could feel less of a man. And when a man feels insecure or less than a lot of time, he doesn't treat the woman properly at all. Period. Now, if the man actually doesn't mind being taken care of, which is not a lot of men to their core, more power to her. Now, see, that's the situation here. Because now, when we're talking about that part where he doesn't mind being taken care of, Usually what I have observed and what I have discovered is that those are usually the women that they don't care about. Not to say it's 100%, because obviously nothing is 100%, but I've observed that the situations where the man is totally okay with this woman doing all this stuff for him and caring, you know what I mean? He's not really trying to make that woman his wife. Now, like I said, nothing is 100%, so that doesn't mean that there can't be some anomalies out there, right? And that also doesn't mean that there can't be a situation where somebody really just goes through a depression. A man can go through depression and go through a tough time and just not be able to get his shit together for that period of time. You know what I mean? Like, those are not the same. That we're not really talking about this here. More so, what I'm really referring to with these is like, this nigga just hardcore ain't getting no job. Like, this nigga just hardcore just decided you're taking care of all the bills and I'm not doing shit. Like, I'm not doing nothing. You're going to do it all, and that's fine, right? The majority of the situations that I have observed, those men did not care about those women, okay? And so, I don't know. I mean, if anybody can say that they've been in a situation like that where that man really cared about that woman and it just happened to be that, you know what I mean, he just didn't work or something, then we can obviously discuss that at that time. Or if you guys have some situations that you can present, I just don't know of those types of situations personally. So I can't talk about something I don't know about, right? So I do feel very much so that the points that I was really trying to make with this whole thing is, when a man feels insecure, like she said in this comment, and she's 100% spot on. When a man feels insecure, he's going to treat you bad, period. When he does not feel like he's providing, he's going to treat you like shit, period. Right? And obviously, like I said, once again, that doesn't mean 100% across the board, but oftentimes you will find things like that, okay? You will also find things where men are more abusive. The least happy or satisfied they are, the more abusive they can be, right? And so I think it's important to at least look at the details and the information, think about it, and at least just know where you fall on the, on the totem pole. No, I'm not ever going to sit here and tell you you should do it this way or should do it that way, because you know what? I'm not you. I don't know what you want your life. I don't know what your experiences are in your life. I know my life. I know my experiences. And yeah, I'm in a situation where, shoot, I'm considering, going the single route, anyway, and not having no relationships. That way, ain't none of them type of problem even thought for me, That's what I've been considering for myself. But, I wanted to at least bring this conversation to topic, because I know that there's a lot of conversations out there where women are saying, oh, it has to be like this, it has to be like that. And men say it has to be like this, it has to be like that. And what about those people that not falling into those categories? Like, it's getting confusing out here in these streets. So I just want you to at least think about what might be occurring for you, what might be going on in your life, and at least just make a decision for yourself. Ultimately, I'm telling you, you make the determination for yourself. The comment that what's her name, Mahogany made, is very true. Like, there's some things in there that we can say, but maybe you got a unicorn, and maybe your unicorn is not doing that, right? Like, and that's fine too. Ultimately, I think at the end of the day, I want you to be aware of the various types of things that can occur inside of connections and relationships. And I want you to also be aware of what you can expect. And I want you to make your own decision. Now, will I be teaching my daughter to take care of a nigga? Absolutely not. No, I will not. Absolutely not. Because here's why. And I've talked about this before, but one of the first things she said was, more than likely, he's not going to stay loyal. I don't know that has anything to do with you taking care of him or not, but yeah, that could be. Because listen, a man could decide, like, if you're taking care of him and all this stuff like that, he could decide. First off, men cheat. Statistically, what we know of, men cheat more than women anyway, right? In relationships. But second off, if he feels like you have all this control and all this power, He might cheat on you just to assert his power over you or his dominance over you. Because many men have this fetish about asserting their dominance upon you and over you. So there's that. You know what I mean? There's definitely that. We don't have to like it. But we do have to know that that is just a fact. That is just how some of them operate, and many of them operate, really. I won't say that there's ever been a time. Let me tell you something real quick. Throughout the majority of my relationship, Gino has been very chill. Very chill, very kind of laid back and stuff like that. We've had our circumstances and our situations where shit got buck wild. But I will tell you this. If there was a time period in our relationship, and we've had a couple, where he didn't have a job or he wasn't bringing stuff in the house or he didn't feel like he was being productive, he had a bad fucking attitude, and the attitude was not cute. Okay? And even though there was some times where I was understanding that he just, this thing is happening and, there's a transition in his life, I was usually understanding at least for a little bit. But then after a while, I know that, his behavior, if he's not operating by providing for too long, he himself will begin to behave in a way that I'm not dealing with. So guess what? We need to go ahead and what you gonna do about a job? What you gonna do about making some money? What you gonna do about taking care of the family? What you gonna do about that? And it's not because he just can't take a relax, he can't break. It's not because of that. It's because I know that after a while, if he's feeling like he's not being productive, he's gonna start acting improperly. And you get to acting like that, and maybe this time I might not be able to hold I might not be able to hold my attitude. I might not be able to understand as much as I did last time, right? So I want y'all to understand that, that's why I said that these things are circumstantial and situational. Listen, we've been together for 20 years. You think we ain't been through those situations where he lost a job and didn't have a job? Of course. That's why I'm always hustling, right? Like I'm always hustling. That way I take care of things that you know what I mean? He may not take care of, or he may not even realize that I take care of, But there have been times where he may have lost his job. And if he lost his job, well, what are we going to do? Well, that's why I'm always selling some shit. Well, if you're going to come have the conversation, then come on and have this damn conversation. Because, He going to say, who fired me besides you? Okay. Anyway, if he was without a job, and I knew how it would begin to impact his esteem. So I knew that I got a specific threshold. Okay, we can do this, we can do that, you can take some time, Even the last time that, he left his job, he didn't really, I knew he needed some time from that. So he had been at that job for multiple years and he went through a lot of stress. So I knew he needed time. So I didn't trip with him for a little bit. But once it started getting past that threshold now, we're going to have to start looking for a job. Why? Because here's the reason why. Because now if you're being unproductive, if you are at the house and all you doing is just drinking and all this stuff, you're not being productive. Eventually, that is going to start turning into either a pattern of you being unproductive, okay? Well, because I'm trying to be productive regardless. It don't matter whether I got a job, somebody's job, or I got my business or whatever I'm doing. But lately, over the last multiple years, I've been running a business, so that hasn't been the issue, right? But I know that if you become too complacent and not productive, one or two things will happen. You first off become too fucking complacent and not productive, and that's not gonna work. And two, you could become very irrational Your behavior, you begin to get mean and nasty, and I'm not dealing with that. I'm simply not dealing with that. So you can figure it out. It's time to get yourself some figured out. What we gonna do? How you gonna provide? How you gonna bring something in for the family? Now, a little bit, he got mad at me for a little bit because I started after a couple months. I was like, okay, well, I think you had enough of a break here. What we gonna do? Because he thought that it was that, like he couldn't just take no break. No, I didn't complain. When you took this time off, I didn't complain. But I know how this is going to start impacting you, and therefore then it will impact me. So let's get you back on track. Let's get you back on the ball. Let's go and get yourself establish something. Let's get something established, or let's start making a plan. You know what I'm saying? That way, at least, even if you need to take a couple extra more months, at least by the time that you're ready to start putting the plan into action, you'll have all the puzzle pieces together. You know what I mean? You'll be able to move forward and get right on into where you need to go. But the reality is that what is said here in this comment, he will feel less of a man. And when he feels insecure, less of a man, a lot of the time he doesn't treat the woman properly. And then he becomes angry. He becomes resentful. He begins to treat you as if you are the reason why he don't got no job. He begins to treat you as if you're the reason why he's unproductive. And I didn't help you lose your job. Like, I had nothing to do with that process. I didn't have nothing to do with you being hired or not hired. That had nothing to do with that process. So now, it's about reevaluating and understanding why you feeling this way. It's observing your feelings, observing why you acting like that. It's about taking the time to understand why you feeling this way. You're feeling this way because you don't like not having a job. You don't like not being able to provide, because you feel like at some point you're going to start being getting disrespected. That's why. It ain't got nothing to do with whether or not I did disrespect you or not, because most likely I didn't. But we're going to have to start looking at a job now. Are you ready to get back to the workforce? Are you, And so that is a very important thing to consider. We also talked about, so we've already talked about the fact that if a woman gets pregnant in a situation, then what? Or it's time to have that baby, then what? And then now we've also talked about the man's lack of esteem, potential building up resentments towards the woman for still having her job and still going out and providing and shit, you know what I mean? Start feeling resentful towards me. I didn't make you lose your job, you know what I mean? So you got to think about these things. These things are these are real things. They really happen like that, okay? They really happen like that. What's the next thing? So we did 1, 2, 3. Also, the other thing is the woman literally get into a point where she doesn't respect the man anymore, because now the man is not really doing what we know a man is supposed to be doing, right? So that can happen too. I will say, because we've been through this a couple times in our relationship. We've been through this a couple times. Excuse me. The first major time that it happened, Gino started to be a little bit he started to get a little attitude with me. And I wasn't doing anything. Like, I was like, I didn't say nothing to you about you not having no job, but he was feeling some kind of way, right? He himself was feeling some kind of way. And so he started to try to lash out at me because he was feeling some kind of way. It wasn't that I did anything or said anything or tried to like, you ain't got no job, nigga. You ain't got no. I was not like that. I was not, you ain't got no job, nigga. You ain't doing shit. I wasn't doing none of that. But he did not like that I was getting up every day and I was going to work and he wasn't. He simply just did not like that. So, now that's not to say that there are not situations where women do not, because there's sometimes some of the women, or sometimes a woman might become bothered by the fact that you're not working, and she may begin to disrespect you. And that's a real thing that you have to consider, right? And I think maybe that's why men subconsciously, while they start being mean and rude first, if you haven't disrespected them, is because now they're like, well, Why you not, getting disrespectful and rude? Well, first off, I know you're down on your luck right now. It's not even gonna do me no good to sit here and, tell you how you ain't shit right now. It's not gonna do me no good to sit here and tell you ain't shit. Like, it's not gonna help nobody. That ain't gonna help nobody. There ain't no point in me doing that. I would like for you to, get yourself together. Right? But I also understand that you're going through a tough time right now. So I'm okay to understand that that's what you're going through. And so that's one of the things that we may have to kind of evaluate, is how we approach the conversation as women, how we approach the conversation if our man goes through a difficult time, if he loses his job or whatever. How do we approach that conversation? Are we approaching that conversation with respect? And sometimes we are, but they just feeling some kind of way because they ain't got no job no more. They feeling insecure. And sometimes their insecurities come out as anger and as lashing out at us for no fucking reason, because I didn't say shit to you to make you feel like you should be angry, But sometimes those insecurities get at them, and that's how they come out with it. I feel like that's a personal problem. Like, you need to work that shit out with yourself. I do. But also I understand that is just, it's like, okay, it's like when, what type of animal, like, literally, like, does not deal with anybody, like, crowding it? I don't know what kind of animal. I'm thinking of, like, a raccoon. I'm thinking of, like, a snake. I'm trying to think of animals that will literally, like, lash out if they feel crowded. Even a bear, if you get around the bear's cubs, is going down. I'm about to scratch you and your face off. Okay. But it's kind of like that. It's kind of like those animals that lash out when they feel crowded, like when they feel like you invading their space or when you're getting in their spot. And I think that men maybe don't realize that, right? But also that's still a personal problem. Like, you need to learn how to deal with that shit that you're going through, and understand how you're feeling and understand why you're feeling that way so that you can address it, right? So there's a double-edged sword there. It's like, I can give you a little bit of understanding, but I can't give you so much understanding where you're going to be sitting there disrespecting me because you're feeling insecure. That ain't going to work. You got to get that shit together, period. Because that's not cool. Because I ain't do nothing for you to be treating me like that, goddammit. So that's something to all consider and think about. So the question really came down to, is it delusional? Is it real, or is it delusional to think that, a woman can maintain a connection and a relationship with a man in which she is the provider of the relationship and he is not? He is just giving her the love, he's just giving her love and kisses, and he's just loving her as good as he can, right? Is that real, or is it delusional? Now, I think it's real as it relates to, it's a real thing that happens. Is it long term, and is it is there a lot of longevity? I don't know. I don't think that there are longevity situations where there's a lot of longevity. I think we might find a better situation where, like, let's just say, like, you got a man or whatever and y'all together, but he only makes $30,000 a year, or like $25,000 a year, but he's the one that still is the main one bringing home the majority of the money, and maybe you bring home a little less, or you know what I mean, because you're dealing with the kids and then you work part-time or something like that. Even those situations, most likely, I feel, would be more feasible and work out better than a situation in which you are solely, unless, like I said, if you're a lawyer or something like really high end, where you're making so much money that it doesn't matter, like, you know what I mean? But it's more for me. It's more of a respect thing, and for me, it's also more of that man's security, right? His mental and emotional security is the most important part of this whole process here. Because when he starts feeling insecure about not providing, he's going to take it out on the woman or the children or whatever, and we don't need that. So for me, I think it's better to just let that man be all he gonna be and be all he can be, and let him, you know what I mean? Like, even if you, like, let's just say this is why I previously said things like, look, if you make more than your man, he should not know that. Like, do not tell him. He don't need to know. And some of the men may get mad about that, but no, because if you find out your woman make more money than you, how you gonna feel? Tell me the truth. You find out your woman make more money than you gonna be feeling insecure in the motherfucker. You gonna feel like God damn it, you gonna feel some kind of way.
Is it delusional to
And then you might try to lash out on her because she make more money than you, and it don't even make no fucking sense, nigga. I'm helping both of us out. What you talking about? So I think I think it's just important to not share certain information in that regard, at least. If you make more money than your man, he don't need to know. He don't need to know. He just needs to know that, you know what I mean? If he couldn't pay all the bills this month, well, I got it, babe. No biggie. I take care of this stuff over here. It's taken care of already. It's no big deal. You know, but he don't need to know that. He don't need to know all that. He just know that you take care of the all the stuff around the house. You buy all the toiletries and all the stuff like that. You take care of all that stuff. He just needs to know that when y'all want to go on vacation, you take care of all the vacations and stuff like that. All the luxury stuff, you take care of all the luxury stuff. He don't need to know why you're able to take care of it so easily and so comfortably. He don't need to know you make more money than him. That's his business, right? And the reason for that is because a man will begin to behave insecurely. He will begin to potentially mistreat you. And potentially treat you like you did something to him and I ain't did a fuck thing except make more money than you, and you mad because of what? Nigga, did the light bill get cut off when you ain't have the money? No, it did not. So like, what did you complaining about? What you crying about? When we supposed to go on that trip and you was like, you ain't have the money and I paid for it? Was that a problem? No, it was not. So that's something that you have to think about, you know. Once again, I'm not ever telling anybody how to run their own households, how to run their, you know, how to experience life for themselves. I just want you to think about certain things. Little kitten. They just be free falling. Free falling at this stage. So yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much sums up the conversation. I think I got a little bit of details out in that when, you know, I know that sometimes people think that it's all about the money. No, it's not. It's not all about because this is what men, just like that dude. I was showing y'all this video where this guy was like, men can't be hoes. He's just clapping cheeks and that's why you want him. No. Most likely he just has confidence in himself, and that's what I'm attracted to. Not the fact that he's clapping cheeks, because how would I know that? How would I know he's clapping cheeks, right? So it don't make no sense. And the same thing here with the whole men looking at women like a gold digger. No, nigga, I'm making sure that you're going to treat me right. So you ain't lashing out on me when you ain't got no job and you feeling insecure. You're not about to lash out on me because you feeling some kind of way. You know? You're not about to do that. So I'm covering I'm covering the tracks here. And that's something that men don't look at. You don't look at the fact that women are thinking far beyond what you think about. We are not thinking about just the money of it all. No, we're thinking about how you feel when you have money and when you don't have money. When you don't have money, you feel like a bum ass nigga. And you start acting like a bum ass nigga. You gonna mistreat me because you ain't got no job? You gonna mistreat me because you're not bringing money in the house. What that got to do with me? That's a you problem, right? But you over here treating me like I did something to you. I didn't make you lose the job. You know what I mean? I didn't fire you. Like, what is going on? So you have to think about it's more than just, oh, she's a gold digger. No, it's not even about that, because you ain't making enough money. You don't even make enough money to call somebody a gold digger to be with you. It doesn't even make sense. It's about the fact that the way that you behave when you don't have what you need towards that woman is not nurturing, is not loving, is not understanding, is not caring. I don't want none of that. I don't want no not caring ass nigga. No. I don't want my man yelling at me because he insecure. I don't want my man snapping on me because he ain't got no job or whatever. No, you need to figure that out. You need to deal with that. That's an internal thing you got to deal with, right? Because I'm not going to mistreat you. Because if I'm going through something, I'm going to sit here and sit with myself and look at myself and say, damn, how am I feeling right now? And I'm going to address that shit with myself. You need to do the same. And so men don't have that understanding about women, is that we're thinking well beyond what you think we're thinking about. Ain't nobody thinking about that funky ass paycheck you be getting. It's the fact that you going to act like an asshole to me and you going to treat me wrong because you not happy with yourself. And I can't go for that, no can do. I can't go for that, no can do. Basically, you know, so that's something to think about, you know. So in my opinion, I feel like it's necessary for men as a whole to really work on, oh no, my thing fell off. I think it's necessary for men as a whole to really work on, you know, having an understanding of yourself, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, you know, like what things cause you to feel agitated before you even get involved with other people, before you even get around another person. You need to be understanding these things about yourself. What makes me agitated? Okay. If I'm feeling pressure, am I agitated? If I'm feeling pressure, am I feeling like this? And if I am feeling those things, how do I respond to life with those things? Gotta look at those things, right? Because, you know, that's going to determine how you behave in relationships, in connections, and, you know, in situations with other people. And it's not someone else's fault, you know, like, hey, cutie. Yeah. Look at it. It's Dot. Say hi. All right, Dot. No, you can't climb up me. I'm not a jungle gym. You're okay, Dot. You know, you just need to know how you're responding to life, you know, and you learn more about yourself, and you learn that you need to learn how to control yourself and control your temper, and you need to learn how to, you know, respond better and communicate your issues better as well. Communicate, you know, I'm going through a tough time right now. I just lost my job, or this happened or that happened, and I'm not taking it so well. I'm not dealing with it so well. Oh, well, shit. I can understand that a lot more. Okay, well, shit. That's got to be tough. I know that's a lot. That's really tough, you know? And I get it. Sometimes these types of things, they seem to be like things where you should feel embarrassed, but do you think that your mom and your dad, do you think that your grandma and your grandpa never had a situation where they ran out, they lost their job, or they, you know what I mean? Like they didn't get what they thought they was going to get? No, people have been through these things. They may not talk about them, but they've been through these things. I just told y'all, Gino, throughout me and Gino's relationship the whole time, I could say 3 good times that he's lost jobs and stuff like that, or not. He said not lost job. He said, ain't nobody ever fired me but you, right? But I can tell you at least 3 time periods where Gino didn't have a job, and that was impacting how he felt about what he could do for his family. Hey, Job, I didn't see you. Hey, Sheba, welcome. So, you know, there's that. And then what else is there? At least 3 times. And I want to say, was there another time? No, 3 times. It was 3. Lows. Or no, aces. Ace. Ace. Yes.
No, they closed down.
Scotty's. Yes.
They closed down.
Exactly.
But I didn't lose that job.
You
They
did.
closed down. We say I lose a job, so like I got fired. I never got fired.
I'm not saying you got fired. I'm just saying
Ever.
you didn't have the job anymore. The job was there and then it wasn't. It's that simple.
They closed the store.
I didn't say you got fired. I said the job was there and now it wasn't. Like it's.
So that was before you even got down here. So that one ain't count.
Lowe's.
Lowe's, I left. I was like, nah.
You had the job and now you didn't.
Okay, what's the next job after that?
Players.
I held that job though, didn't I?
You held the job, but once it was over, you went through a period of time where you were resentful towards me.
That was 7 years.
All I'm saying is that I didn't
I
say
feel you.
like I didn't say that it was.
It ain't like
I didn't give those types of specifics. I'm just saying like That was a time period where you didn't have that, where you didn't have a job and you did not feel good at that time. After that, you did not handle that very well.
I know the house, when you used to houses like that, but for me, that was like the biggest house that.
What house?
Ball Dot was the biggest house that anybody in my family ever owned. Or
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's horrible.
I didn't say it was horrible.
Back in case
I didn't say anything. I just
they had starter houses and shit, you know. My mom's house, that's like a big house for her.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah. So Ball Dog, I was like, nigga.
Right. I feel it. But listen, no, I didn't say anything about it. But, you know, you did. After players, though, you were mean. You were mean.
Why? The scenario why I left, so it was like just a bad time period. And I went out here and wasn't nobody hired me. Like, not even McDonald's. I was out here trying to find any kind of goddamn job. I was like, this don't make no sense. I worked 7 years at a place that is people always leaving quitting and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Work my way up from doorman to DJ to manager.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get no goddamn job.
Right.
I can't tell you little young motherfuckers how to flip a burger. You don't think I got that knowledge?
Right. You don't think I got a skill set here?
Yeah, I was very frustrated during that time because I just couldn't get hired.
I know.
That means that whole industry is taboo.
Because
like,
you was mugging me when I came home from my job, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yes, you were. You was literally upset. Like you was like snapping at me. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, listen, I had to tell Gino at one point. I was like, listen, I know you lost your job and everything, but you are not about to be snapping at me because of that reason. I remember that. I remember that one conversation saying that.
You always making everything about you.
No, I didn't. But I didn't. You wasn't about to be snapping on me though.
I wouldn't even snap.
Because you ain't had no job. They ain't got nothing to do with me. Like,
no,
I didn't fire you. I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't.
I wasn't snapping at you. I was venting my frustration about how I couldn't get a job.
Well, I'll tell you what. Your definition of venting your frustration and my definition of venting frustrations are totally different. So, I'll just say that. I just know that the way you was acting just wasn't it for me.
But then yet, I still found a way.
Yeah, I feel that. But I'm just saying, like, that.
That was a period.
Yeah.
But that was the last period. So how many periods is that?
Oh, no, it wasn't the last period. The last period was MTI.
Yeah, but I still was doing my little thing here and there.
Well, no, because then you started getting comfortable.
It wasn't about getting...
Complacent, rather.
All right.
And I was like, that's great and all that you want to, but we were supposed to be building. At that time, for me, it was like we were supposed to be building at that time. So it was like...
encouraged me to quit.
That's fine. I didn't mind that you didn't quit. It's just the fact that you looked like you was trying to get comfortable not working. And I'm like, oh, no, we're supposed to be building.
I know that. I just thought that I could go on an entrepreneur, you know.
Yeah, but you weren't doing that. That's the thing. It's like, I don't mind that, but you wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, I don't mean to bombard you, but,
The broth?
yeah, about that bone broth. What's going on with that?
There's vegetable broth up there.
I would probably.
Why you want the brown broth?
Because it has nutrients, especially collagen, and something else, calcium probably.
Well, you said collagen. You really ain't getting it now.
What? What's wrong with collagen? What's wrong with collagen?
So, anyway, yeah. But ultimately, I'm just proving, you know what I mean, that we've been through this. That's why sometimes when I talk about stuff, it's like, sometimes y'all think I'm talking about stuff just because I have my own ideas about life. No, I've been through this shit. Okay? I'm not just making shit up or just, you know what I mean, like coming through. No! Okay? I've been through this shit. Alright?
I never got fired. Hold on, I want to say that one more time.
Hold on, I never said you got fired. I never one time
I left
said that.
Also, the reason why I left, they wanted me to take a $30,000 pay cut.
And nobody's doing that.
Exactly.
So no, I feel
So-
you. You had to do what you had to do.
Good catch. Ain't no juice, so that shit.
And you had to do what you had to do. That wasn't the problem. That wasn't the problem at all. You look like you was trying to get a little bit too comfortable doing that. Oh no, the nigga, like, wait a minute now. You got the what we gonna do now? Like I think I gave Gino about 2-3 months. After that, I'm like, okay, what's next? Like what we doing next? Like we're not about to just sit here. That's not going down. Like, cause I know no. Cause remember, I told you guys, you know, after he had stopped working at Players, he had a period of time where he was just not happy about it. And obviously because he just said then nobody's hired him, so he was like, what the fuck? So he was probably just very not happy about that. And I get it, but nah, brother, we not about to sit around. That's not what we about to do. Okay, we not about to get comfortable. That's what we ain't gonna do. Right? And it's not me trying to be like controlling about it, but just me knowing that is not a good direction. It's not a good direction for him or for me, right? And so the reality is, when I'm looking at things like that, I'm looking at what keeps the equilibrium in our relationship. I'm not just looking at how it impacts me. I'm also looking at how things impact him, even his decisions. So his decisions, I'm looking at how it impacts him, how it impacts me, how it impacts both of us in the relationship. So even in that time, I was like, yep, this is not looking good, right? Hey, we want to start looking at some jobs now? Like, what we gonna do? You know? But that's because, like I said, when you're in a relationship with somebody, the things that are occurring within the relationship and throughout each of your individual lives is going to impact you and the other. You guys are going to impact each other because you're together. You live together. You love each other. You're with each other. So that's why it's important to think about those things. And so I'm always thinking ahead like that. And so, you know, he might have felt like I was trying to pressure him. Like he must have felt like, yeah, you can't take for stuff. No, I've been taking care of stuff. Now you getting comfortable. That's what I was seeing. What I was seeing was he was getting a little comfortable. And then I do recall the time before that, when he had lost his job, he started getting mean after a certain while. I was like, oh no, I ain't doing that. I am not dealing with that shit. So yeah, you can get a job today or tomorrow. Which one you choosing? Right? Right? So anyway, I hope that we've had some clarity with this conversation. You know, I know sometimes we might come off and say something like, oh, he has to do this or has to do that as it relates to the requirements that we might have for a man or for a relationship or whatever. But sometimes there's more that goes into that. It's not just the fact that we're saying that one statement. Sometimes there's a lot more that goes into that thought process. It's not just that, oh, you just have to have a job so you can take care of my needs. No, you need to have a job so that you're mentally and emotionally sound and you feel secure within yourself, so that you're not feeling like you're a deadbeat. You know what I mean? Because if you start feeling like you're a deadbeat, you're going to start acting like it. And we don't need that. Like, I'm not interested in any of that type of behavior going on. Okay? So, you know, a man has to feel secure in himself in order to be able to give any sort of, you know, security within the relationship with a woman. So, you know, that's something to think about. You know, maybe some of you guys don't even need to be trying to get in relationships. Reality. Females too. Sometimes you don't need to be getting into a relationship because you need to work on that emotional, sis. You need to work on that mental, sis. Okay? But these are things that we will discuss further in the future. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Hopefully you've had a wonderful day. And, oh, what you want to talk about? Oh, Shiva, are you still here? I don't know if you're still here, but yeah, I've been talking about, you know, is it delusional to think that a woman can take care of a man, or a woman can be the sole breadwinner and just simply be in a relationship with a man just because he loves her, with him loving her well. You know, he loves her well, but he doesn't provide at all. And so we presented a couple of reasons why it might work and a couple of reasons why it might not work. Well, more reasons why it might not work. More reasons why it might not work, but that doesn't mean that we weren't taking into stock, you know, women who are in a little bit of a different type of circumstance to kind of see the balance there. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I don't think she was here anymore. But anyway, thank you guys again. I hope that you're having a good night. I hope that everything's working well for you. I did want to kind of come and have that final discussion for that because I did take the poll on my channel. And now I think we're done. I'm going to go for the next AA. How you doing? Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I was on a mission. You threw me off.
What you about to say?
No, I said I was on a mission. You threw me off. Bring all this on and shit.
Oh, thank you. You're drunk?
You're drunk.
Yeah, it's Saturday night. Hey, you said you're drunk? Oh, AA is on here. Like AA, like Alcoholics Anonymous? I was just playing. I was really just joking. Right. No, real shit. Yeah, we were just talking about like a woman being in a relationship with a man that's not working and stuff like that, and how that might impact, or whether that's realistic or unrealistic. So yeah, that's basically what we just finished talking about. So how have you been, love? Why not? What does it normally stand for, though? What is it supposed to mean? I was just joking. I was just playing around. So, yeah. Well, anyway, guys, I do want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notifications when I upload new videos, and smash the like button. And I will see you guys in my next one.